The logical question here is, instead of asking the social media platform to take down a story,
We are not telling them to take down.
why can't the government give its version which can be published, which is what we do in the media all the time?
No. Look, please understand, and I'll tell you that even with the DIA going forward, this construct of a safe harbor for social media platforms is not tenable anymore. Why should the government be involved in a dispute between, forget about the department for a minute, between citizens, enterprises, and social media platforms? Why should the government be today, and this is a worthwhile discussion to have when we talk about future legislation, why should the government be saying that we will give them a safe harbor and then we will insert ourselves in the middle to adjudicate your dispute? As a matter of fact, we are a democracy, we have a well-developed legal system, and where there are gaps in the legal system, we can create some new laws. Let the dispute be between those who are aggrieved by the social media carrying the content and the social media platform. So I am telling you today that the future, in my opinion, is going to be around a discussion about why have these Section 79 type safe harbors for these platforms. These are big platforms, they are very, very powerful platforms, they are very valuable platforms, they are very rich platforms. Why should the state give them immunity? Why should the country, a democratic country where there are billions of people, millions of people using these platforms, be giving immunity to these platforms? This is a worthwhile concept. So this is not, if it was about, let us say, paper A or a journalism writing a story on your website or wherever, there is no problem today. If there is a disputed story, the government will issue a rebuttal. If it is a private entity who's aggrieved by the story, he will issue a rebuttal. If a private entity or a government entity is aggrieved by the story, they'll take defamation action in courts. That is intact today, that is intact tomorrow, that will be intact day after tomorrow. None of that changes. This is about the social media platform, and why this is important is social media platforms have become platforms where misinformation operations are rampant. Last year, 2 years ago itself, we took down 1100 ISI and DGISPR backed accounts that were spewing stuff about Government of India. Just recently, Joe Men of Washington Post has written a story about how a large number of bot-activated accounts were spewing Khalistani rhetoric against the Government of India and creating calls of violence against the Government of India. Now, at that point, if you go by the purest free speech person, we should just sit back, relax, and issue rejoinders, by which, by the way, damage would have been done. We have done studies, universities abroad have done studies that misinformation travels at a velocity and attains a reach that are 10, 20, 30 times more than the truth. So we must understand the underlying dynamics of these big tech platforms that we are attempting to, in a sense, hold back on one issue alone, which is these 9 types of content. I was recently in an NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, 2-day seminar on child sexual abuse material. And a startling statistic was presented to me by a law enforcement person there. I'm not able to verify it, that almost 30% of all content downloads in India are porn/CSAM. Now, do you not think that the social media platform should be held accountable for that? So therefore, I think we are doing a disservice by conflating this legitimate effort to make sure our internet is safe and trusted, legitimate effort to make social media platforms more accountable for what type of content they can put on their platforms, with an unnecessary focus on free speech, because there is no restriction on free speech. There is no restriction on journalism.
But Mr. Chandrasekhar, don't you think, especially in the context of yesterday's Delhi High Court judgment on Abhishek Bachchan's daughter, how she was, there was fake videos on YouTube. Don't you think there's need, rather than using intermediary guidelines to keep amending them,
So
I don't think there's need for a law which defines fake news.
Which is what the Digital Media Act is, which is what we are saying today. And that is why we have now, and look, you will say, why are you not doing it faster? The Prime Minister is very clear that anything that we legislate in the digital space will be as a consequence of and after deep, deliberate consultations, because we are legislating for the next 10 years. So we are very clear about the framework of what the DIA should be. You think misinformation is a problem today with AI and deep fakes. I have seen deep fakes that will make all our heads spin. I mean, they look as genuine as as you can see. And imagine if somebody puts out a deep fake there that says, just I'm giving you a very innocuous example, free ration is going to be given in XYZ ward of this particular city. There will be stampede, there will be mayhem, and then the government is responsible for that. At that point, I can't turn around and say, oh, but it is Facebook or it is so-and-so, so-and-so. I mean, nobody is going to, the victims of this misinformation campaign are not going to look for an alibi from the government that says, no, but it's not my fault, it's the fault of a platform. So therefore, this effort by us to make sure these 9 categories of content that really create harm on the internet are addressed and addressed in a transparent manner, in a proper manner. I do agree with you that we are today using intermediary guidelines because the IT Act is a 22-year-old act and we are using whatever tools we have. I can't sit around today as a government and say, but we don't have the tools and let the evil continue. Let the user harm, let citizens be impacted. So we have to use the tools that we have. Certainly around the corner, we will have a Digital India Act that will be much more contemporary, that will deal with user harm very, very comprehensively. And we certainly, our Prime Minister, our government is very committed to making sure the internet, which 1.2 billion Indians are going to use for all kinds of things, has to be a safe and trusted space. On that is an article of faith for us. And regardless of how many people try and brand us as being anti-free speech activists or whatever it is, we will patiently explain to them repeatedly and repeatedly till they align to our mission that the internet in India affects students, it impacts old pensioners, it impacts digitally less literate people, and therefore the internet must be a safe and trusted space, and we are working to ensure that.